Today we are doing Module 4, Lesson 20, our last lesson of this week before your weekly check-in tomorrow. Okay, and your learning goal is exactly the same as yesterday. We're going to continue practicing, using what we know about converting measurements in order to help us solve multi-step word problems. Right now, this question is asking us to figure out how many feet are in 4 1/3 yards. Right off the bat, we can see our two kinds of units are yards to feet. So we need to have 1 yard equals how many feet, and 1 foot equals how many yards. Help me out with that. 1 yard equals 3 feet. So that means if I have 1 yard like this, 1 yard, I split it into thirds, and this is 1 foot. Do you agree? This is another foot, and this is another foot. So, therefore, if I have 1 foot, is that an entire yard? No, it's only a fraction of a yard. It's 1 piece out of how many total pieces? 3. So, therefore, 1 foot is equal to 1/3 of a yard. Remember, it might seem tedious, but does it really take that long to write this? No. It takes me just as long to draw the thought bubble. You don't have to draw the thought bubble, but write the conversions, because that will help you a lot. Okay, we know that we start with our original number, 4 1/3 copies of, what's our original unit? 1 yard. Very good. Now I still have 4 1/3 copies, but I want to change it to my new units, which is feet. So I need to look over here. 1 yard equals 3 feet. Once again, I want you to notice everything that's in the parentheses is equivalent. It's just how I change it. I swap out yards for feet because I want to do that. Okay? Now I'm ready to multiply. I have 4 1/3 times 3. Are we ready to multiply? No, because we have a mixed number. We have to turn it into an improper fraction in order to multiply. I have 4 wholes. I want to change them into thirds because my fraction is thirds. If I have 4 wholes, how many thirds is that? 12 thirds, because 3 thirds plus 3 thirds plus 3 thirds plus 3 thirds is how many thirds? So this is 12 thirds plus 1/3. Do you guys agree? So how many thirds is that all together? Okay, so this is the same thing as 13 thirds times 3. Akil, how can I write that as one fraction?
13 times 3 all over 3.
Very nice. Do we see any common factors? 3 and 3 are both divisible by? So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now I have 13 times 1 all over 1, which is? So therefore, 4 1/3 yards equals 13 feet. One thing I want you to start getting in the habit of doing is checking to see if your answer is reasonable. What's bigger, 1 yard or 1 foot? 1 yard. So if I have 4 yards, should I have more or less than 4 feet? More. Do I have more than 4 feet? Is my answer reasonable? Yes. If I wrote at the end, I got something like 4 1/3 yards is the same as 2 feet, would that be possible? Is 2 feet even 1 yard? So if you got an answer like that, something in your head should go, rah, 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 error, 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 because that's not possible, right? I want you to get in the habit of determining whether or not your answer is even reasonable. Okay, everyone, in this problem, we are converting from?
Quarts to gallons.
In this problem, we are converting from quarts to gallons. You got it. So that means in our thought bubble, we have to get ready to write 2 conversions. 1 quart equals how many gallons, and 1 gallon equals how many quarts. What's bigger, 1 quart or 1 gallon? So let's start with the bigger one. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So if I have 1 quart, do I have a whole gallon?
No.
How many quarts does it take to make 1 gallon? So if I only take 1, that's a fraction of a gallon. 1 out of how many total parts? So therefore, 1 quart equals 1/4 of a gallon. You got it. Okay, here we go. Kazu, start me off. How do I do this conversion now that I have my thought bubbles? 3 1/3 copies of? 1 quart. You got it. Okay, very nice. Okay, what comes next, Samarth?
So, okay, 3 1/3.
3 1/3 times. How did you know it's 1/4 of a gallon that goes in the parentheses?
Since there's 4 quarts in 1 gallon,
Yeah,
1 quart is basically 1 part of it, and
good.
there's 4, so
We also wrote it right here. 1 quart equals 1/4 of a gallon. Okay, very nice. What comes next? Christopher. Well, we have to multiply, right? So 3 1/3 times 1/4. But you're right. 3 1/3 is a mixed number, so we have to change it into an improper fraction. Let's think about the whole number part and the fraction part. How many thirds does it take to make one whole again? 3. How many holes do I have here? 3 holes. So that's 3/3 plus another 3/3 plus another 3/3. So how many thirds is that all together? 9/3. Good. What about the fraction part? 1/3. So how many thirds do I have all together? 10/3 times 1/4. All right, Shivani, what comes next? 10 times 1 all over 3 times 4. Very nice. Sawyer, what would come next? We can see if we have any common factors. Do we? What do you notice about 10 and 4? Are they both even numbers?
Yeah.
So that means that they're both divisible by 2. Good. So we can divide this by 2 over 2. So what's 10 divided by 2?
5.
What's 4 divided by 2?
2.
Did you say 2? I hope so. Okay. So our new equation is 5 times 1 all over 3 times 2. What's 5 times 1, everyone?
5.
What's 3 times 2?
6.
So therefore, we think that 3 1/3 quarts is going to equal 5/6 of a gallon. Let me ask you a question. Is this reasonable? If we have 3 1/3 quarts, is that a whole gallon? How many quarts would it take to make a whole gallon? But 3 1/3 is really close to 4, so it's almost 1 gallon. In fact, it's 5/6. Would 5/6 mean it's almost 1 gallon? So that is reasonable. Very good. This problem is asking us to figure out how many cups of water can 2 containers hold. The important information, Omer?
1 container can hold 4.5 pints,
Good. 1 container can hold 4.5 pints.
and 1 pint equals 2 cups.
We're trying to find out how many cups. We're trying to find out how many cups 2 containers can hold. So this is a little bit harder to say this sentence, but I want you to read this again and think to yourself, we are converting from to Think to yourself, when you know, give me a silent thumbs up. It's not as easy as when you have it literally written out, like 1 blank equals 1 blank, right? But this problem is still a conversion. We're converting from to All right, everyone, we're converting from pints to cups. Good, we're converting from pints to cups. That means in our thought bubble that we need to set up, we have to have 1 pint equals blank cups, and also 1 cup equals blank pints. What's bigger, 1 pint or 1 cup? 1 pint. Good, so let's start with that one. 1 pint equals?
2 cups.
Good. So therefore, if I have 1 cup, that's only part or a fraction of a pint. What fraction of a pint is 1 cup? 1/2. Okay. Now, let's talk about the problem. We know that 1 container can hold 4.5 pints. The question's asking us, if I have 2 containers, this one also holds 4.5 pints, right? We want to find out all together how many cups it can hold. Well, in order to do that, we have to first convert 4.5 pints. We have to figure out how many cups are in 4.5 pints. Do you agree? So basically what we have to do is 4.5 pints equals blank cups. Yes? Okay, in your notebooks, go ahead and follow the procedure for conversions. So here, I knew that 4.5 pints is equal to 4.5 copies of 1 pint. Is that correct, Mr. Sharp? Yes, okay. Then I know I have to convert to cups. So I know that there's 2 cups in 1 pint. So I did 4.5 to keep that same number equals 1/2 of a cup. That's not right, Mr. Sharp. Why not? Oh, if I look at my thought bubble here, I see it says 1 pint equals 2 cups. So is this equal? No, that's where I made my mistake. Instead, it should be, oh man, I can't erase it. Okay. It should be what? 4.5 copies of 2 cups. Oh my goodness. That must mean all my work down here is wrong too. Do you guys agree? Okay, good. So 4.5 times 2. Well, we still have to think about that as 9/2 times 2, which is 9 times 2 all over 2. 1 and 1, right? Which is 9 cups. Is that my final answer? 9 cups? The question, let me go back and check. It says, how many cups of water, yeah, good, 9 cups, can, 2 containers hold. Okay, so that means over here, this part is 9 cups, and this part is also 9 cups. So altogether, 2 containers can hold 18 cups of water.